Welcome back to What Would It Cost? We appreciate all your support. Don't forget to comment, like, and share, and most importantly, subscribe. Today
Subscribe. Big shout out today to PZA. That's our sponsor. Shout out Dre and Julia at 7 and Weston Road there. They have an awesome pizza. They got a great burger, solid dishes all across the board, and really, really cool, dope art activations done by Anthony Riccardi. Their menu is top notch in regards to their pizza, their burgers, all their other side dishes, and their wait staff is awesome. All across the board, they got it right, 10 out of 10. And big shout out to PZA. Go check them out.
What is it going to cost?
How much? Hi, my name's Nicholas Regina.
My name is Michael Sakuro.
And you're listening to
What Would It Cost?
Is that good?
On today's episode, we're talking all things real estate with our guest, Nicole Ginzburg. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Welcome.
Welcome to What Would It Cost?
Thanks.
She's not from Woodbridge.
I'm not from Woodbridge. Throw it out there. Make sure everyone knows.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show. We're happy to have you. So tell us a bit about yourself, how you got into real estate, and what made you want to get into real estate.
So I was actually in the service industry for a very long time, and I got to know people. I've learned how to read people, learned how to talk to people, and that encouraged me to go into real estate. A lot of people that I would meet would tell me to get into sales, and I tried sales for a little bit. It wasn't my thing. So I thought, I'm like, hey, why not give real estate a chance?
Yeah, nice.
And I did the course, and then here I am.
Very
Nice.
cool.
Thanks.
Very cool. Where is it that you worked when you were in the service business?
I worked at Earl's.
Okay.
Worked in Woodbridge. I've been in the industry since I was really young. I started off in an Italian restaurant in Thornhill, funny enough, and then made my way slowly to Earl's. And, I started from the bottom. I worked as a hostess. I worked takeout. I worked as a server, worked as a manager, bartender. I did it all.
Oh, very cool.
And then finally it was like, okay, I need something new. I need a new challenge. So again, when people kept telling me, get into real estate, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. I did it. And I couldn't be happier. I think it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Awesome.
No, it's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, definitely, especially the last 2 years, how everything's been going. Definitely the right decision.
Yeah, for sure.
And just, looking at, what it takes for these newer realtors to get in, what's that cost look like to break down? Because a lot of them, they don't know that what it's going to take to get into it, because there's obviously your licensing. It's not just the course. You have that marketing exposure, connection fees with the brokerage. So give us a bit of background of what that looks like.
So when I did it, it was actually a little bit different. I did it through OREA, which it was a private school that was offering the course. Now I believe it shifted to a college. I think it's Humber College. Yeah. But when I did it, I think it was about 4,000, 5,000 all in all. And there was 6 exams that I had to do. I did a self-study. I did it during COVID. Yeah. So, I started just before COVID, and then doing it through COVID kind of gave me some purpose, because I was, everyone was sitting around. Nobody knew what was going on. Yeah. And then, starting to study and write all these exams, it's hard. Like, I'm not that young. I'm not that old, but, starting off with...
How old are you?
I don't care. I'm 30. I look 20, so I love it.
Okay, right on.
But yeah, so studying, I mean, I wasn't in school for a long time. I went to college for something completely different when I was 20. So taking 10 years off school and then going back into it, and also self-study, it was a lot. And the course was hard. I don't know what it is now, but when I did it, it was tough. And a lot of times I was like, okay, I'm giving up. I can't do it. But I had actually like my boyfriend by my side, and without him, I wouldn't have been able to. Maybe we'll cut that. I'm just joking. Had him by my side, and honestly, without him, I wouldn't have been able to do it, because he pushed me, right?
Very cool.
You need somebody on top of you. Like, if you don't have that, that drive to study, you won't do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I got it done, and then I ended up joining a brokerage. I joined RE/MAX. I knew right away from the get-go, I'm like, I'm going to join a huge brokerage, because who's Nicole Ginzburg? Nobody knows who I am. If I join some boutique brokerage, who's going to want to buy with me or sell with me? There's no support there. I talked to a lot of people, asked them, what's a better route to take? Is it better to go with a big brokerage, or should I go with a boutique one? And then from what I heard, in boutique brokerages, you don't get that guidance, as opposed with RE/MAX, I have the balloon behind me. So always leaning back on the balloon, I'm like, okay, yeah, you don't trust Nicole Ginzburg, but Remax, everybody knows Remax.
Right.
I have family all over the world. They'll call me. They'll be like, oh, I saw your brokerage. And it's like, it's franchised, right? But people don't know that. So they think, oh, I know every realtor in the world that works for Remax. I get these calls all the time. It's even, I have friends and family who travel to to Mexico. And it's like, there's an office in Mexico. There's an office in Florida. So it's really cool. As an advantage being with Remax, I have that access to people who work in brokerages all over the world. Yeah. So that's another plus for working in a big
118 countries, 158,000 agents you guys have.
Yeah. It's insane.
That's your
and that's what I fall back on. So I'm like,
that brand. Yeah, that big brand that gives you that notoriety and that credibility that just helps build the trust in the relationship.
Exactly.
Cool.
And it's
Great
so
decision,
important. Yeah, it's so important. And again, a lot of people come to me and they ask me, especially, I don't know if you want to put this in, but a lot of servers become agents. And it's like, it's kind of a joke within all industries. It's like, oh, what do I do? I'm a server now. Okay, I'm going to become a real estate agent, you know? But it's like, you learn a lot of the people skills and everything when you're serving. So you apply it with real estate. Yeah. It's obviously very different. Like I can upsell anything in the real estate or in the serving industry. I can, sell you, instead of a 6-ounce steak, I'll sell you a 12, no problem. Right. But in real estate, like why choose me? You know what I mean? There's so many other agents. Remax alone, you said has 158,000 now, plus all those other brokerages, right? Yeah. So it's like, why are you going to go with Nicole Ginzburg? So that's when you have to, that's also how I learned to, promote myself and kind of sell myself. Even when it comes to social media, a lot of people, like a good friend of mine, she's a baker and she's killing it. Like her and I started around the same time and she just exploded. But for her, she's selling a product. Right. So that's the difference. Selling cookies or like selling like baked goods, easy. Not easy, but for this, I'm literally promoting myself. Right. Yeah. So it's like, I was camera shy. I didn't have Instagram before I started real estate. So it's like to now all of a sudden have to be out there, have to do videos, have to, always talk to people. It's like, yes, I'm outgoing and it's easy for me to talk to people, but at the same time, like I want to be my shell sometimes. I don't want to be on social media, but I have to be because that's the only way to get my name out there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's all about marketing yourself. Yeah. Like you said, there's that big brand behind you, but that's how people are going to get to know you. Yeah. And for the marketing aspect, is that something you take care of yourself, or do you have someone now that works on that for you, or you outsource to?
I do that myself. Okay, nice. So yeah, it's tough. Cool. I try to be, it's like a second job. Yeah. Right? Like I'm sure anybody who really focuses on their social media marketing knows that if you're not posting there every day, somebody else is. Yeah. And you're forgotten about. So even every day I'll try to like post something random, I like to focus on real estate because I keep my personal life very private. But sometimes I'll throw bits and pieces out there and obviously you get so much more reactions from people when it's like, oh, this is your personal life. This is what you're doing. I love this. This is so
you're
cool.
A real person.
Yeah,
You're not just a real estate robot.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Joe Tito always gives it to me and Mikey and makes it known that kind of content is what we need to be posting a lot more of. Like just hold the camera to your face kind of thing. Like just talk about what you feel like talking about that's relevant in what's happening in the world today. And it doesn't necessarily have to pertain to the real estate market. Yeah. And that's just what works, right? And it's getting a lot more traction. So how to be able to blend both of it, right? And that's how I found you too, right? Was through social media. Exactly. We don't have a background with a friendship or weren't really attached in regards to networks, but I seen you were active on social media. I seen you were really giving it a shot, and it looked like there was a lot of action around you in the industry. So I said, it looks like she'd be a great host, right? Yeah, or we would like to host her. Yeah. It'd be great to host her. Yeah. So in light of what it would cost, I guess it's kind of priceless, the network that you've built up from when you were, as a waitress or a manager or in the service business. And that network is essentially what you've leveraged to be able to see the success that you've seen in the short period of time that you've been in the industry compared to, other realtors, right? So talk to us a bit about that value, right?
So I actually did meet a lot of my clients in the restaurant industry, and because of my I think my work ethic is, anybody who knows me knows I'm a workaholic. My work ethic is great. I'm very authentic, which I think is very important as well.
Yeah.
What you see is what you get. I'm always like this. I'm like bubbly. I like to talk, and I think that's super important. I think that's why I've gained the following that I have. Not the following, but just the respect that I have in the industry. And, I've had a lot of mentors, for example, that just anybody, people are like, here, take my card, or here's my number. And just, if you need anything, call me. And it's like, sometimes I think I'm like, why? Like, why me? Why does everybody want to talk to me? But it's because I'm real with the network that I've built. It's because of the person that I am, and just having all these people like support me and want me to do well. It gives me the confidence to continue producing and continue doing what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Now, going into the real estate market itself, is there something you specialize in, more of a niche, or you're just looking to tackle all across the board right now?
Right now, I'm honestly taking whatever. If somebody wants to sell their house, I got you. If you want to purchase, I'm there. I've been doing a lot of leases just because, again, like a lot of realtors, especially when they get busier, they're like, I don't want to deal with leases, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work. People don't realize the amount of work that a lease is until they are either themselves the landlord or the tenant.
Right.
It's just like there's so much driving involved. There's so much empty, like so many dead offers that happen, right? Like especially dealing with a tenant who maybe doesn't have the greatest credit score, and unfortunately, like your credit score matters, like you don't want to think that you're just a number, but we all are. We're just numbers. So if you have a low credit score, okay, somebody else with a higher credit score is getting that unit. Or you just got this job, all right, somebody who's been employed somewhere for 2 years is getting that over you. It's like you think you're doing well for yourself until you keep getting rejected for a property, and then you're like, well, what's wrong with me? And I'm the agent in the background being like, it's okay, like I have to keep up my my positivity and just like keep encouraging them that we will find something, and you will always find something. But I always give my first time tenant clients kind of like a pep talk, and I'll be like, listen, you'll probably get rejected your first 3 times. Even if they're a AAA tenant, I just kind of say it just because it's like when you get rejected, people think it's personal, but it's not. It's not a personal decision. It's just because, again, they don't know you. They are looking at your numbers. They're looking at your credit score, your employment, your pay stubs. They're digging deep. Now social media, everyone's looking through your social media. They're finding you on Facebook. What did you do yesterday? Oh, you said that all you do is study, but I saw you at a party yesterday. We don't want you as a tenant. Right. Or it's like 2 guy roommates, should I not say that because of everything going on in the world?
No, it's cool.
No. It's fine. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So like
everybody's got preferences. People don't like pets.
So it's like pets is a good one.
Yeah.
So like right now I actually have 2 clients, and they have a dog. They have a 40-pound dog. That's huge, right? Yeah. And they're looking for a condo. So before I actually go and look for these places, I'll call the agents just to kind of save myself the time and the clients the time. Right. Because a lot of the time, like 40-pound dog is huge, and nobody's taking you, right? So I'll call the agent and be like, hey, like this is the situation. It's trained, it's this and that. I try to like sell the person, but at the end of the day, it's the landlord's decision. If they don't want the pet, you're not moving into this place. Even if you pay a year up front, you pay 6 months up front, you're not getting this place. They don't want it.
Right. So to talk more about that, what are the expectations in regards to what it would cost for a lease? Like, are they being more demanding in what you need to come up with, like 4 months, 6 months, a year, or is it just first and last? Like, talk to us a bit about that.
So now the sweeter the offer, the more likely you are to get the property. But it also goes back to your credit score, your employment, and your income, right? So if, let's say, I'm offering you first and last, but I have, my credit score is 850, which is like a good credit score. I have a job, I make $150,000 a year, everything's been concrete. I've been there for years, whatever. Like I'm a great AAA tenant. Right. Yeah. And then somebody else comes and says, well, I'm offering you a year or 6 months up front. And then but their credit score is at 700, and, they just got this job, and maybe they're making about the same amount, but because they just got the job, it's not concrete yet. They'll take the person who's only paying first and last, as opposed to getting that additional money, right? So it does still always come down to the type of person that you are, like what your credit score is and whatnot.
Right. So if you're a premium If you're being looked at as a premium applicant, it's first and last.
Yeah.
If you're being looked at where it's lower income, a little bit less of a credit score, you might be asked to front 6 months or 4 months.
And it's not even that you'd be asked, you'd actually have to offer it because they won't consider you.
Oh, wow.
If you're offering first and last and you don't have good paperwork, then like, sorry, you know? So you kind of, as the agent representing the tenant, you're trying to give them more of an incentive, right? Like, okay, hey, well, my clients, you know, maybe we'll pay an additional $25 a month or $50 a month, and, you know, plus we'll give you 6 months. But then it's so situation based. Like, I've literally been dealing with this so much. Like, right now I have 2 properties listed for lease, and then I have a couple tenant clients that I'm dealing with as well. And it's funny being on both sides, because when a lower desirable applicant comes to one of my landlord clients, I'm just like, no, they're terrible. But then it's like, if I have a client who doesn't have the best paperwork, I'm just like, well, they're great, you know? So it's funny playing
play
both sides.
ends,
like, I'm devil's advocate, right? And it's really interesting to see. And
you
then
gotta
it's
go hard for your client.
Yeah.
For us, we have a lot of clients that are always looking to purchase investment properties or refinance to buy an investment property, and sometimes they're always worried because, like, you hear that the tenant sort of holds all the balls in their court and all the rules. So to go to that point, like, I've heard that, you know, even if you put no smoking or no dogs, there's really nothing the landlord could do. So give us a bit more background on that, because that's what, I'll be honest, that's what I think scares a lot of people sometimes, is they're worried that it's their place, their hard-earned money, and they're going to lose it, you know, to that person. Not lose it, but lose a bit of control. So what's that control sort of look like?
So, for example, with the pets, right? A landlord can't say that they want no pet, or legally the tenant has a right, especially with COVID. There was something that was put in place stating that, like, a dog or a pet, it's a companion. So it's like, if you're living alone, you know, this is, you can't, like, not let somebody bring in a pet, basically. But at the end of the day, again, landlords can do whatever they want. You know, they can say, oh, I'm very highly allergic, and you can't argue that, you know. And as a tenant, again, when you don't have a desirable tenant, if you say no dog, okay, no dog. If I had, like, maybe a AAA tenant that, you know, has a dog, it's still, like, sometimes they can't say it, but they can.
Right.
If that makes, it's a very gray area.
Yeah.
So, like, legally you're not allowed to ask for a pet deposit, but a lot of landlords do.
Right.
Or as representing a tenant with a pet, I'll be like, hey, we'll give you a pet deposit. You know, like, here's an extra month up front for the pet deposit.
What does that start to look like cost-wise?
It depends. Again, everything is so situation based, but
Like, what
sometimes
kind of pet you have?
yeah. Well, okay. You know, this is, like, kind of ironic, but people who own a condo that have in the condo corp a restriction on size of animals, they're at an advantage, because when I have a client that has a 40-pound dog and I'm like, hey guys, you know, my client's dog is 40 pounds, or, you know, sometimes I'll say 30 pounds.
Ching.
and then they'll just be like, well, sorry, the condo corp says 20 pounds is max, so can't take you
Pull out the
guys.
scale.
You know? Yeah, literally.
Really?
Yeah,
know
like,
that.
there's so many things.
So
but
what does a pet deposit range from?
it
Like,
could
what?
be $600, could be an extra month up front,
When
could
you're
be
buying deli meats, it's price.
yeah, literally. Like, it's anything goes. It's like, this is a dog eat dog.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
I have a lion.
No, sorry.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that.
So,
a pet
like,
deposit.
some people, I mean, it's not allowed, but they do it. But then some people will lie and say, I don't have a dog.
Yeah.
Right? So that's where another, like, situation comes in, you know? So, like, I'll meet a couple, you know, I'll meet a new tenant who wants to work with me, and they'll be like, yeah, you know, here's all my paperwork. Great. Everything's all good.
Yeah.
Do you guys, you know, give me some details? Do you have a pet? Do you want a balcony? Like, just throw random things in there, and they'll say they don't have a pet, right?
Yeah.
In the advantage to realtors is that once they're in there, it's the landlord's problem. Like, they can't come back to you, right? But, like, because, again, like, with me being authentic and so nice, and I'll be like, okay, like, let me help you figure this out. But realistically, like, you can't do anything. The pet's in there, that's it, it's done. But then there are tenants who want to be honest with their landlords. And it's like, I don't want to hide my dog. I don't want, when they give me 24-hour notice that they're coming, I have to figure out where I'm putting the dog bowl, where I'm taking the dog, where I'm hiding the dog food. You know, it's like, some people just want to be honest. And I respect honesty. And so, like, again, I have these clients with this 40-pound dog, and I'm like, I'm stuck, and I feel so bad, because every time I message them, I'm like, sorry guys, like, we're not going to see this today, you know? Or, like, they'll send me a list of, like, 10 properties, and I'm like, yeah, one said maybe, and it's like, okay, is there anything that, what are we gonna do? You know, I'm like, we'll find you something. I mean, I had a client who had 2 80-pound Rottweilers, 70-pound Rottweilers, that was the tough one. But we found something for them, right? So it's like, it took a lot of no's before we got one yes. But it's always doable. You can always make it happen.
So if you were able to have it be that you could monetize that for your client, right, and make a business out of that, like being the renter, the one that's renting out the unit, like, couldn't you add on monthly to what that lease looks like? Like, hey, listen, on the side you got a big dog over there, like, tack an extra $100 on, and like,
you can, but
we'll let you in, kind of thing. Like,
but the problem is too, like, people are worried about. It's like I mean, if you're a landlord, I got you. Like, I'll bring you a tenant, but like, it doesn't really work like that because like some people are like
squares out there,
you know, like like my staircase is gonna get ruined, or like I'm gonna have to redo the floors. The floors cost money, and it's like, okay, it doesn't cost that much money. It's not gonna get ruined, but. That's how people think, right? Especially people who didn't grow up with animals. Like, I've grown up with animals. So to me, it's like, no, like, they're fine. They're not going to scratch the floors or whatever the case is,
and
right?
110-pound German Shepherd, she did nothing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they sleep all day. You know, it's fine.
She's suntan the whole time.
Mom, you'd lose it, eh?
No dogs.
We couldn't have a dog growing up because of the shedding.
Why? Mine don't shed. But yeah, I know. It's like, it's one of those things. But see, you wouldn't allow a dog in your unit if you were renting it out.
We're right at the tail end. And it flies by the time. Always flies
yeah, this was so much fun. Can we do another hour?
Yeah, so it was great speaking with you today, and we got some great insight on what the leasing market is looking like right now, and what it would cost if you were to have a pet, and given the weight and the size of that pet, how that can have the cost fluctuate and everything else, in regards to your education and whatnot. So thank you.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
No problem. It's a great conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
And let everybody know where they could check out your social media and find you.
So you can find me at NicoleG.Realty on Instagram.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks again. We appreciate it. And thank you all for tuning into this week's episode. Again, be sure to like, follow, share, and hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next week.
And big shout out to our sponsor, PZA, Highway 7 and Weston Road. Check them out. Like I said earlier, awesome restaurant all across the board in regards to the ambiance and the staff and the food. A1.